Okay, so today, 11, 20, 18, okay? Arithmetic sequence, okay? Write this down. It is a list of numbers where the order is adding or subtracting the same number each time. Okay, that is what makes it arithmetic. You're going to be adding the same number over and over again. So 1, 6, 11, 16, add 5, add 5, add 5, okay? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, add 2, add 2, add 2, okay? Even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is still arithmetic because you're just adding one each time, right? Okay? If it is arithmetic, there's a really nice little formula that we're going to use, okay? And the formula is this. I'm going to highlight it. It is a of n equals a1 plus n minus 1 times d. An is whatever term you want to make, or the last term. A of n is either whatever term you want to make or the last term. A1 is the first term, okay, always the first term. N is the number of terms. If you have 5 terms, 10 terms, if you want to find the 15th term, N is the number of terms. And D is always what we call the difference. It is the, excuse the expression, the adder or the subtractor. D is called the difference. Okay, now adder and subtractor are not words, but it works. Okay, so if we take a look at example 1, first, let's find the 12th term. So if I want to find the 12th term, let's use our formula. I do notice it's up by 5, it's up by 5, it's up by 5. So it is arithmetic. And the difference is up by 5. So I can use my formula. If it is arithmetic, you have a formula, okay? So if I use my formula, a of n equals a1 plus n minus 1 times d, I want to use my formula, right? If I'm looking for the 12th term, then in this case, n has to be 12, okay? If I'm looking for the 12th term, I'm going to go all the way up to 12, so it would be 12 terms. So n is the number of terms, so it has to be 12. Yes, Ben?
Would the formula be a of n, or a of 12?
A of 12, very good.
Equals 3
Yep.
plus 11
Yes?
times 5.
Yes, totally correct.
Which would be 58.
Yes, you're way ahead of me as always. Let's do what Ben said. We want to find a of 12, because that will be our 12th term. Equals a1, which is our first term, which is 3, plus n, which is our number terms. In this case, it's 12 minus 1. D is the difference. We're going up by 5, so we just use 5. Ben already used his calculator, right? So a of 12, which is the 12th term, is what, Ben, what did you say was 58?
Yeah.
Now, this is a lot faster than just keep making it. Add 5, keep making it, keep making it, keep making it, keep making it until you get the 12th term. That will work. If you want to keep adding 5, adding 5, adding 5 all the way till you get to 12 terms, that'll always work. But the formula's faster, okay? All right, now, if we want a rule for this, because we also want a rule, if we want a rule, then we need a formula, okay? Anytime you need a formula, you need a variable. So we're going to let n be our variable. Be our variable, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it as a of n equals 3 plus n minus 1 times 5. That is my formula, or my rule. This formula or rule will create our sequence, but I can simplify this a little bit. Ben, question?
I am really glad this makes sense to me.
Good, me too. Thank you for being calm. Makes my day a little bit better, okay? So this is correct. This is total, and it will work, but I'm just going to simplify because I like a simpler version of it. A of n equals 3 plus 5n minus 5. A of n equals 8, oh, not 8, my bad, 5n minus 2, okay? So again, if I plugged in 1, I will get 3. If I plug in 2, I will get 8. If I plug in 3, I will get 13. If I plug in 4, I will get 18, right? This formula will create this sequence, okay? All right, now, example 2. So for example 2, what we want to do is this. We're going to go ahead and 55 is my first term, right? And I seem to be going down this time by how much? I think I'm going down by 8, so D is -8. It is arithmetic. Subtract 8, subtract 8, subtract 8. So since it is arithmetic, we can use my formula. My formula is A of n equals A1 plus n minus 1 times D. That's my formula. That's what I want to use, okay? So I want to find the 20th term, right? So if I want to find the, Nicola, you watching? I want the 20th term. So we're going to go A of 20. So I'm looking for the 20th term. Equals A1, which is 55. That's my first term. N is the number of terms, and since I need 20th term, there are 20 terms. Minus 1, and my difference is -8 each time. Okay, I just need to use my calculator. Let's see, what is that? It's going to be a 55 plus 19 times -8, and I get an answer of -97. So, if you were to go ahead and just keep subtracting 8, subtracting 8, subtracting 8, subtracting 8, keep subtracting 8 all the way down, you would get to -97. But it's so much faster just to use a formula than to create the darn thing, right? Yeah. Now the formula does say a rule, so we're going to do that next. So if you need a rule, we need a formula, okay? So the rule, again, has to have a variable. Our variable is going to be n. So we're going to go A of n equals A1, which is 55, plus parentheses n minus 1, because we need to keep a variable, n minus 1, and D is -8. Okay, that is correct, but I'm going to simplify it, okay? That is the correct formula, but I'm going to simplify it. A of n equals 55 plus a -8n plus 8, or A of n equals, what's that, a 63 minus 8n. And again, if I plugged in 1, I'd get 55. If I plugged in 2, I would get 47. If I plugged in 3, I would get 39. If I plugged in 4, I'd get 31. Okay, so this formula or rule will create the sequence. Thumbs up so far? Okay, now, example 3 is a little bit harder because we don't have A1. Okay? But what I want to do is I want to kind of figure out how to do this one, but I don't know what the, excuse the expression, I don't know what the adder is to go from here all the way up to here, okay? So what I want to do is use my formula. My formula is A1, or I'm sorry, A of n equals A1 plus n minus 1 times D, okay? The problem is I need to find D. So I'm going to shift the whole thing. I'm going to shift it. What I'm going to do is let A7 for a second. We take the whole long string. So you've got a whole long string of sequences.
We can't see the entire thing.
Okay, we've got a whole long set of sequences, and I'm going to shift it. For right now, I'm going to call this one A1. So if I call this one A1, I went back 6, right? You agree? So then this one would be A20. See? So what I want to do is I need to use my formula. My formula needs A1. I don't have an A1, so I'm going to take my whole formula and shift it back. Does that make sense how I'm shifting it back?
Yes.
Okay, so if I call this my first term, I went back 6 and I go back 6, this becomes my 20th term. How does that help me? Okay, so if I use my formula, I've got A of 20 now equals A1, which is 17, because I made A1 17, plus, and in this case I've got 20 terms, don't I? From 1 to 20, I've got 20 terms times D. I want to find D. This is a hard problem. I want to find D. So A20, I happen to know A20 is 93. So I'll put my 93 in for A20. So instead of A20, let's 93 equals 17 plus a 19D. Okay, the whole thing I'm doing is using my formula to find D. Once I get D, I can create the formula, okay?
I think we should subtract 17.
Minus 17, I get, what's that? 93 minus 17 is a 76, equals a 19D, right? Divide by 19, and D is 4. Okay? So for my formula so far, I've got D is 4, but I don't really know the first term. So there's two ways to find the first term. Probably the easiest way, okay, is just to subtract 4. Subtract 4. Subtract 4. Subtract 4. Subtract 4. Or we could use the formula to find A1. I'm going to use the formula, okay? So if I use my formula to go back to what I know, A7 is 17, and A26 is 93, and D is 4. This is a hard problem, okay? This is what I know. My formula says, let's use my formula, A of n equals A1 plus n minus 1 times D. Am I going too fast?
No.
Okay, let's find A1. Let's find A1. So A of 26 is 93. A1 I don't know. So how many terms am I going to have? Well, if I let A of n be 26, then I have 26 is n, right? 26 minus 1 times D, which is 4, and I should be able to find A3.
Is that a plus?
That is plus because the form, my bad. All right, so let's simplify this. 93 equals A1 plus, 25 times 4 is 100, minus 100, and A1 is negative 7.
It was definitely easier to subtract.
So it might have been easier in this case to just subtract, 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 subtract. Do you agree, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now my formula, finally, I'm almost there. A of n equals A1, I know what A1 is, negative 7, plus n minus 1, and my D is 4, okay? And if I simplify that, I will get A of n equals, let's see, I'm going to get a 4n minus 3.
Example 4 is a really good question.
Okay, you ready for example 4? Wait for you. I know I asked 4 twice. Can't wait for
Yeah,
you.
that's okay.
Now, Ben, I agree with you. We could have just worked it back to 7, subtract 4, 6, subtract 4, 5, subtract 4, 3, subtract 4, 2, subtract 4, and we got 1, okay? But I wanted to show you how to do it in case this was a much bigger number, right? Because it could have been a much bigger number, right? Okay, turn the page. Okay, now, series, okay? So, what is a series? Well, the difference between a series and a sequence, Nikolai, is this. A series is a list of numbers. I said that wrong, forgive me. A sequence is a list of numbers. A series is to add them all up. A series is just to add all the terms. Okay? So if I looked at example 4, I'm going to go 5 plus 8 plus 14 plus 11 plus 14 plus 17 plus until I get 17 terms. And then use my calculator, add. I could get it, Ben.
I began to do this with the arithmetic series
Yes.
equation.
Yes.
And it did not work.
Let's do it.
We have to start with the arithmetic sequences.
You're way ahead of me. Nice job. You are on ball today, okay? Ben is way on top of this, but let's show up. Can I catch him up?
Sure.
So if it is arithmetic, we have a formula, okay? Yeah. If it is arithmetic, we have a formula, okay? S means sum. S of however many terms, okay? The sum of how many terms. In this case, it'd be 15 terms. I want the sum of the first 15 terms. N is the number of terms. In this case, it'd be 15. A1 is the first term, which is 5. A of n is the, well, it's the 15th term, which we don't know. But we have a formula. To find the 15th term, we could use the formula I gave you on the front part of the page. So let's see. I have to use this formula. I know S of 15 equals. Okay, I know this. S of 15 equals. I know n is 15, right? I know A1 is my first term,
Which is 5.
but I don't know the 15th term. I don't know A of 15. But I can find it. I don't know the last term. 2 ways to find the last term. Just keep making, which will work. Just keep adding 3, adding 3, adding 3, adding 3, and make it quick, Nikolai, until you get all the way. Or let's use our other formula from the front. So if I use my A of n equals A1 n minus 1 times d, I can make A of 15. I can make A of 15 and then plug it in. All right, I can do that. So A1 is 5. There are 15 terms, and the difference is 3, right? If I use my calculator.
That is 47.
47. Thanks, Ben. So here, let's check it out. So
Now we can plug that in.
I can plug it in. So if I use my formula, I want the sum of the first 15 terms of this, right? Let's go back to it, okay? If I want the sum of the first 15 terms of this, I'm going to go, okay, S of 15, at the sum of the first 15 terms, is equal to n. Use my formula. N is the number of terms. The number of terms is, how many terms are there? There's got to be 15. A1 is the first term, 5. The 15th term we just found out was 47 divided by 2. And that'll be the sum of the first 15 terms. Better than making them all and adding them all up. Okay, so I'm just going to go 15, parentheses, 5 plus,
180.
divided by 2, 390.
Well, then, but before you divide it by
Sure, before you divide by 2. I would agree with that, okay? Yeah. Okay. Now, how does this help us? Well, again, I'm going to go back to this. If you cannot do formulas, the long way is just keep adding 3, adding 3, adding 3. Make them all, then add them all up. Okay?
Mr. Davies, if I called you one day and I was like, Mr. Davies, what is the arithmetic sequence formula? Would you tell me?
Probably.
You'd remember it.
I would remember it, yes. I've been doing this a long time. A long time. Okay, now example 4, which should be example 5, because I've been doing things too long and I can't count anymore, okay? Obviously. So what do you think? If I look at this, this is actually a question. This is a question. It says, make 27 terms, play 1, 2, 3, 4, plug in 1 through 27, make all those terms, and then add them all up, right? It is, unless we have a formula.
But we do.
Of course we do.
We do. In fact, our formula is that.
Arithmetic.
It is. That is our formula because we're going to, this is sum, right? So we're going to add them all up, right? Okay. So my formula is S of n equals n times A1 plus AN divided by 2. You're right, Lauren. I mean, formulas, my goodness, if we had to make them all and add them up, it'd take us forever. This is going to be fast, okay? So first of all, n. How many terms are there? What's n?
27.
Yes, because we're going to plug in 1 through 27. There's 27 terms. Capiche? Okay. A1. What's A1?
5.
Yes. How'd you get 5?
Just add
3 times 1.
3 times 1 plus 2. We just plugged in 1, right? You guys agree? A of n is really, in this case, A of 27, because that would be our last term. Okay? Does that make sense? What is A of 27?
We don't know.
Well, it's going to be 3 times 27 plus 2, right? If we want to make our last term, let's just make it, right? So it's 3 times 27 plus 2, and I get an answer of 83. Okay? So, last but not least, let's do this. Let's go S of 27, because I want the sum of the first 27 terms, right? Just use the formula. Equals n, which is 27. First term, A1, is 5 plus my last term, which is 83, divided by 2. Now, Lauren, isn't that much faster than making the whole darn thing and add them up, right? The formulas are handy. 27, parentheses, 5 plus 83, probably, Ben's probably right, divided by 2, and I get 1,188. Okay, now, one last thing I want you to do. I want you to grab your journals. I'm going to show you one last thing, okay? I'm going to show you, grab your journals, I'm going to do one.